Hi, I'm Sandy Schreck, and today we're going to be looking at a holiday design that's inspired by the pomegranate. Those deep, rich burgundy tones that are in there, and bringing some of the other holiday textures in, some from the browns on the magnolia to the rich burgundies that you see in the black magic roses. So let's get started here. So I've started, got Midnight Foam here, and then I'm just coming in with the magnolia, and I want to, we're going to extend it out, add some holiday foliages in. So I'm just bringing that in to kind of be my base in the middle. Then we're going to add some cedar. And what we want to do is get that draping effect, but I want to use the cedar all the way from the top to the bottom. Those smaller pieces can go into another design, but I'm going to bring it in where it's kind of coming on the side, and then I've got the lower pieces, and we can come in and you can see, so there is a hidden or a tip, but I'm just going to bring that in and face it down so that you can see how you get that drape going on with your composition. And so by placing it a little bit more sideways, you get a little bit more depth into your design, and you get that beautiful drape. And I just want to make sure that you're not throwing this on the ground. We're using all those pieces from the top to the bottom. So the same with Douglas. I'm going to come in and cut right here. So I can use this piece as well as this top piece. So that piece with the end, I can put up in the middle, and by the time I add my other florals in, I will cover that cut off tip. And so you can see there just a couple different insertions of that foliage is really giving me the volume. I have a little bit of the cypress that's in a little bit different texture and some different coloration. So it brings a little bit more of that blue in. We're going to add some of the seeded eucalyptus in. So this color helps to tie that back and forth. And so we've got that. And then this lower piece can come right here. So next we're ready to put in a little bit of a few of our other value items. So we have some raspberry brulee chrysanthemums that are a unique color. They kind of have some of that mauve-y tone, but you can see how they're a bridge between the two colors that we see in the pomegranate. And so we're going to bring in something of those. We want this, the holiday season is a fairly long season, so we want to think about having some longer lasting elements in there. All right, so we're ready for our roses, and now we're going to come up in an area of dominance, and right up on top, I'm going to bring like two of them together there, and then we're going to come over to this side and kind of repeat that process. So you saw I was putting my carnations, so one up and one kind of down a little bit lower. So we've got a line coming through with those roses, and so that it's very impactful through the design. Making sure I get nice deep insertions so that the lasting quality of this design is really awesome for our customers. So now you can see coming in, we've got spray roses now that are really trending, but you get multiple roses on one insertion. So they're a great item to add in value-wise. It makes the customer feel like there's more roses in the design, and it's kind of repetition of color and shape, but yet adds an additional element with that smaller size of a composite flower. All right, so let's come in with a few pine cones. down in deep, and these are also adding a contrasting texture. And I'm going to have them kind of run in that same line that I've got those roses. And so that they're contrasting texture and they add that depth within the composition. All right. So we've got a few of the brown Lysianthus. And again, this kind of is one of those bridge elements where it brings a little bit of the brown that we just put in the pine cones and kind of extends that. We've got some brown that's coming in with the magnolia. So just adding a few of these, dancing out in here, will add a great element to this design. Lastly, just adding a little bit of that tropical nouveau influence. And this is the leucadendron, which is a very, very long lasting item. And so that's something a little bit different. And you can talk about how it could remind them of a tropical vacation maybe that they're going to take in the spring. But it adds that conversation piece link. So telling your customers that it's a new trend and it's a unique flower that comes from the, well, it actually comes from California, but is the unique piece that comes in and adds that conversation piece in there. Then what we're going to do is come back. So down here, we've got all kind of green draping. So we're going to come in with a little bit of the aganis. So this I want to cut up and put into groupings. So you can see I'm layering a couple pieces together, and so that it'll be more impactful and that I use the whole stem. So same thing as this as Christmas greens. I'm going to come down in and make those cuts and then layer those together so that I have no waste on this. And all of those cut tips end up disappearing, and keeping it on that strong stem makes it easier to be able to insert. And so just coming here, looking at where the breaks are and cutting those and then layering them together to make an impactful insertion. There, and then you just want to do a couple that bring it home and right up into the center of the design so that it feels like a complete composition. So here you can see our festive holiday design that's inspired by the pomegranate. You can see those rich dark colors and all the textural elements in there that are just bringing this design all together. So I hope you'll take this idea and create some fabulous florals for your customers.